Northern Beaches, shopaholics, husbands and wives, be very, very scared. There's something new coming to the Northern Beaches. Stay tuned.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael BURGIO, Mark, Novak, episode 474. We've got a big announcement today. There's a big international. They're global, aren't they? Global brand.
No. Yeah, just say it is.
National brand for Australia. Get your wallets ready. This is exciting for many reasons. Whenever a big brand comes to an area, especially Northern Beaches, we're seeing a big drive in the last probably more than 5 years, but the last decade, more of a bigger push of these brands coming. Hungry Jack's, a lot of people are aware, is opening up in Brookvale. Mark, what is it like before we reveal who it is? Why is it important? Why is it good for people to know?
You know what? I think as a community, there's first of all you've got to get these guys interested, these brands interested to come to the Northern Beaches. Sometimes there's not enough population for these guys to come, not enough business for them. A bit sad for the people in the area, but sometimes the area just really, really needs some of these businesses, and it literally can transform and morph an entire, not just suburb, but entire region when these sort of businesses come to the area, for good, for bad, however. But I think people vote with their money, and the dependency of these businesses doing well or not doing well is purely how people vote with their money.
Yeah, and I think Northern Beaches, for the reasons we love it, and Mal, Sean, Higgsy, good to have you all on. For the many reasons we love the Northern Beaches, it is insulated, it's isolated, is one of the big reasons why up until now we haven't had many big national brands come, because they access, drive, it's just sort of a bit east of everywhere. But actually there's another one we can talk about, Terry Hills, Mark. But there's a big brand, Manly Vale, that's opening up. Andrea, good morning, which is...
the reveal.
Couldn't wait.
The reveal. Now, if you're not in the Northern Beaches, you may be thinking, who cares? But we also want to talk about today the influence that these guys have and the impact these things have, because often people don't want these types of businesses coming to the area. Certainly not Cocoa Republic, but sometimes you may be getting a massive brand and people are going, whoa, that's way too much. We don't want those guys in the area. So let's talk about these pussycats.
Yeah, so first of all, they're coming to Manly Vale. They've taken a beautiful shop near the Bunnings. So it's a really good positioning. Let me change it to the other view. So 198 Condamine Street. Higgsy's like, Kmart at the mall. Yes, Kmart has replaced Target. So good. So 198, where you've got your Freedom Furniture. Like, Mark, we're doing another deal with another national, and we know they've been waiting to get in that suburb for 10 years. Now,
yeah,
to break into this market of Manly Vale, where you've got your Freedom, you've got what's Harvey Norman, the blue one on the corner. So if you're in furniture, this is the pocket you want to be. Like, this is where they all are. A lot of people sometimes miss. Yeah, they sort of think. Yeah, very nice. So
that's hot. It's all black.
That's black. That's not theirs in particular. I'll bring up theirs exact plan. But so it's a premium property. Now, to put in the background, nothing this size has come up in Manly Vale in a very long time, 10 years probably.
These national brands have rules. They have necessities, and they have things that they will not do. One of them is first floor. They, like a lot of these national brands, believe it or not, even if there's 1 meter or 2 meters off the street that the shop front sits, a lot of national brands just won't consider taking it. They want to be level with that streetscape, as in no more than one step.
Yeah, they're very particular and they're very patient. Like, they will wait 10 years to break into a market so they can have it. Like, Mark and I spoke about this the other day about another operator where we're like, they've like in 10 years, so many other operators have opened up. Why wouldn't they just take a little one, do the pilot store, just basically do something shit that people can start getting familiar with, and then wait for the site, especially Northern Beaches. It can take so long. And I'll share.
Yeah, national brands taking a commercial property are snobs. They have rules of conduct and that they just won't break. They're very, very military. They know what works and doesn't work. But some of these guys can spend $2 million on a fit out, $3 million on a fit out. Spending $2 or $3 million on someone else's property, you better hope you get it right. You got your rules of conduct.
Yeah. So this is a good tip for a lot of people where you can, we got the information from council website. It's always good to monitor that. And a lot of people, they see an empty shop and they're like, I wonder what's going in there. It's very easy to jump on your local council website and basically, let me do it this way. Yeah, check the local website, the council website, and see what's been lodged. They've got to have the plans there. So you can see here, you've got the plans for the building, you've got the signage, you've got the layout. It also had their estimated fit-out cost, which was $2.1 million. So it's insane to think they're leasing a property, spending $2 million.
That's a lot of black paint.
Yeah. Let's have a look here as well. Yeah,
but it just shows you the infrastructure that these guys are investing. Because, Virgil, what's that facility worth? I know they're renting it, but what's that worth to buy something like that? What, 10, 20 million?
It could be maybe that closer in between. But yeah, but it's also heavily on that lease. If these guys are paying $500K rent, then what's that 5% return? That's, I'm having a mental blank. That's 5 mil, 10 mil easily. If they're paying $1 million, it could be 20. It's a big site they're taking. So
if this is big, like if you consider these guys to the cost of business for someone like Coco Republic, I know they're renting the shop, but effectively the cost of business is they need a $20 million facility. When you look at their $2.5 million fit out, they need a $20 million facility to do well. That's I just find that. I think that's just incredible. Like, you'd think to yourself 5, 4, but that is, imagine what the Harvey Norman site is worth. That's 2 doors up. These guys are. Imagine what a McDonald's store is worth. Or a KFC across the road of Manly Vale. Like, these are big compounds. They're big facilities. They're I know they're money makers, but geez, they're putting in a lot of money and a lot of risk.
Yeah, and it also shows how long it can take. Like, there's really only, like, where people go 10 years, surely they can find something, but there's not many $20 million properties, and they love new properties as well. So here's the thing as well, Mark. That property, sometimes, especially in commercial, it's like you spend the money, you build the luxury property, and the good tenants will come. I'm seeing that time and time again. We did. There's 2 constructions at Narrabeen. They were vacant blocks and
crazy efficient.
Yeah, we got Pet Barn in there, Asana Care, Super Cheap Auto, and the other one, 4 major national tenants paying big rent as well. And they really like new, and we're seeing a bigger discrepancy between old commercial and new, even on the smaller scale of retail. Like, Mark, when you look at Meriton rental rates, what we did in Carlisle and the rents compared to an existing building, it can almost be double, which is very mind-blowing when you think, you go, well, they're just getting 100 square meters downstairs, and what's it matter if it's brand new or not? But they do. Because a lot of commercial tenants, the building will represent their brand. And yes, they're getting the same 100 square meters. They can make the 100 square meters look pretty and nice, but the building looks shit. the brand looks shit. So they're willing to pay a lot. Like we got a national Taco Bell going into DY. There were a lot of other stores that they could have got a lot cheaper, but new building, it really plays a role. So when people...
So if you just tuned in, we're just talking about Cocoa Republic for the Shopaholics and the Northern Beaches moving into Manlyvale. Manlyvale, so if anyone doesn't know Northern Beaches, Manlyvale is near Manly, and it's not quite the centre of the Northern Beaches, but it's not far off. Pretty interesting.
And Mel, so question, what sort of fit-out contribution would they have gotten? Probably just rent-free. A deal like that, probably 6 months free rent and the time to do their DA. So it could be as little as, it could be, I would have seen at least 4 to 8 months free rent from when they paid deposit, did the council approval, to when they start construction. Typically, especially a national tenant, they don't want they always want to do the work, so it's worked in free rent. Taco Bell, we're the same. They're spending $1 million on their fit out, or maybe it was more. And we just negotiated a longer free rent and let them do the work. They've got their team. They know how to want it.
And they're quick. So when you look at, I'll give you an idea, and everyone, this is going to shock you. One of the most heavy-hitting, iconic retailing businesses in the whole of the Northern Beaches. Now, the Northern Beaches has a population of about 250,000, and it has about 100,000 properties. Probably the most prolific and one of the most prominent retailers, single store, one-off, is McDonald's Brookvale. McDonald's Brookvale has sat on a old block of land. They then bought the block of land. The old store bought the old block of land to extend their parking. They then bought the parking next door. They then bought the building next door. They then bought the service station next door. Now, they've since done a knockdown rebuild, which was another story in itself. But Michael, how much is that without the building? How much is that compound worth? Just the land?
Yeah, it would be 5K if it's 3,000, 15 mil, 15 mil. No, I think it's B5 there. It may not be all B5,
B5?
but from the, yeah, so it's about $5,000 a metre.
So corner position, and how many metres squared do you reckon they've got there?
Well, put it in perspective, the other Caltex just sold for $9 million. So the Caltex itself is worth $9 million, and then you got the 3 blocks behind. I'm not sure their total land. I think I can work it out, but just say 15 or 20 for the point of this.
So you start looking at a $30 million facility just to sell burgers.
Yeah. And that's where you think to yourself, what business are you in? The property, especially McDonald's, which that Netflix movie is great, Founders. But Hungry Jack's is paying $1 million, or they'll be paying $1 million across the road. Because the two properties, I think one used to be 500, 300. Yeah. So that would be approximately $1 million lease by what the old rent would be. They knocked down 2 buildings, building a new property, but they aren't owning, they're leasing. So, and that it would have cost them $2 million to build, $3 million to build.
So let's look at these. It's big money. So, and look at how long it took. Like, Hungry Jack's was sitting on the sideline knowing what a weapon of a business this $30 million McDonald's compound was pumping out. They sat on the sideline since probably 1980. For about 30 to 40 years, they sat there and watched, lost market share, watched McDonald's dominate, saw how much McDonald's pumped and just said, we've had enough. And they've spent massive money across the road. Just like Cocoa Republic, they've looked at all of the shopping activities of people, and you know what's really interesting? When you go to stores like Cocoa Republic or you go to stores in general, they always want to know your postcode.
Yes.
And then they would have seen where they're delivering all of this furniture, and they would have seen all the money that's being pumped into the beaches and thought, you know what? Imagine if we put a facility on the beaches that's going to service not just the beaches but the North Shore. It's a big win for the people of the Northern Beaches because it's going to generate more of a sexiness, a bit of a nice vibe and a nice hub for people out of the Northern Beaches to come and visit, spend some money, not just spend some money in Coco Republic, but they'll fill up their car full of petrol. They'll have something to eat in a local beach or a cafe. Very interesting. It's good for the economy.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. They probably saw our office, all the 2099. They probably think it's time for us to refit out. So they're giving you a nudge by opening up. I know a lot of our stuff's from there. Nice.
A lot of our stuff's Coco Republic. Oh, we probably gave them inspiration, Burge, for sure.
100%. So, but yeah. And then did we ever talk about the one in Terry Hills? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I can't see why not. That's my favourite shop. So I think Lisa's favourite shop will probably be Coco, and my favourite shop would probably be Costco. Both start with C and both start with O.
But on a more important note,
finish with O. And finish with O.
I said that's cool. On a more important note, they're coming to Terry Hills.
Yes.
Which is huge. All we need is
massive.
Amazon.
They probably Amazon. Are here, but they haven't told us.
Yeah. They do.
And they do property styling. They've got a property styling section at Coco, and they'll also come out and help you spend money for furniture with a property stylist. So that's a wrap. That's big news for the Northern Beaches. It's big news for people out of the Northern Beaches. You can spend a day, come to the beach, start off with brekkie on the beach and do a bit of shopping, then go home, spend time on the beach, whatever you want to do. It's just good news. It's just good news. Congratulations to Coco. And this was a COVID move.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah,
this was this was like market shitting itself, and they are doing they are re-injecting money, jobs, into the Northern Beaches. So it's very good.
Well, that's a good point. When a lot of other businesses and people are like, how can I survive or can't do anything, it's COVID, you've got these big companies going, this is when we strike. This is when we make a move. This is when we reinvest. So if you're a business owner out there and you'd be like, oh, I don't know, should I do this? Should I do this because it's COVID? Do it. All the big people are. So, yeah, that's a wrap.
Is it going to kill any local furniture shops? Or is it going to... Or is it just going to attract more?
It'll attract more because you had Freedom and Snooze there and Harvey Norman for, a decade plus. So if there were some, they were already gone from that. So it's actually just going to inject new blood and bring, I think, more people.
I would have thought after you've been to Coco, let's go to Harvey Norman and buy this or buy that, or let's go and have a look at Freedom as well. So I think everyone in that little precinct's actually going to benefit as well.
100%. All righty, guys. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.